Hello, welcome everyone to Haatemalo Collective discussion on Palestinian resistance, which is a long-standing struggle since occupation of Palestine land by Israel was legitimized in the interest of countries who have continuously supported the occupation, firstly by facilitating the creation of State of Israel, ignoring the aftermath of it, turning Gaza into a concentration camp, and now being openly complicit to the attacks on Gaza and West Bank disguised as war on Hamas post October 7th of this year. As our solidarity to the resistance, which calls for a worldwide commitment and resistance to the unified supportive forces against war atrocities inflicted upon Palestine and our people, we are holding discussion series around this. And our guest for today is Rama, who has been continuously reporting from the ground on war realities that we have been reading through different sources in media, among which some are bent towards propaganda news and dismissive of the historical context of the conflict, leading this to decades of oppression against the people of Palestine. Rama has been working as a journalist covering the Israeli occupation for the last 15 years, and currently the events after the October 7th in Jerusalem, West Bank, and the genocide in Gaza. So welcome, Rama. We really appreciate you talking with us. I know you have a very busy schedule, and with everything that's happening in Palestine, it means a lot for us for you to give us your time. So I want to start by asking you to describe your lived experience of growing up in Jerusalem under the occupation of Israel.
Hello, first of all, I'm sorry for being from my car, not from like a suitable place that for sure I want to be in a good place to talk more about what's happening in my land and to talk more about my cause. But as we all know, the ceasefire stopped, and we surely do not have a good schedule, schedule which is clear and to know what to do in our land. That's why I'm in my car while having too much to work to do and stuff to cover in the streets. So first of all, I'm Rama Yousef. I'm from Jerusalem mainly. I work from the field among the people of my country, among my people since years now, as a journalist, as a producer, and as covering all of the stuff happening around the country. I want to tell about journalism, about Rama in journalism, which is something we, all of us, raised and grow talking about politics, talking about what's happening around us since years and years, since we are child. All of the kids around Palestinians talks about what's happening, suffers a lot because we have checkpoints and barriers all over the country. So being a journalist, it's not like a choice I choose for sure, because being Palestinian, being some Palestinian girl which is lives among through all of the sufferness that we are around, and we've been through. Being from Jerusalem, leaving my place, my city, to go to Ramallah, which is in the West Bank, it could be like a trip cost me 3 or 2 hours between barriers and between checkpoints. So that's when people around Palestinians from Jerusalem, if I'm from the West Bank, or among all of my people, we do not have the choice to be intellectual. We do not have the choice to be resisting in resistance. We have resistance as we are alive. We have resistance as we are going through every day to go to school, to universities, to work, to homes. So this is not a matter of choice. I assume this is a matter of a life we are going through and we are going through a lot, in particular here in Palestine and as I'm from Jerusalem. So first of all, I want to thank you about having this chance to talk about me, about us, me as Palestinian, as from Jerusalem, and about us as Palestinians here in Palestine, to tell the people around about what we are suffering, to tell the people around what we are having here in particular in the streets. People do not know what's happening because all of what's happening around, it's only something, a matter of power, a matter of money. That's what we think, and everyone knows about it. So it's not a matter of what you are suffering and what you are going through, as it's a matter of being at what side, having interest with any side. So thank you for having me, and I hope everyone watching us knows more about Palestinian, educate themselves, go through like YouTube and Google. Now we have this information about all around to tell the exact story, the truth, the true actions that we are suffering and being through years and years since 48 years.
Jay, you're mute.
Okay. Thank you, Rama. I mean, it's really heartbreaking for all of us, watching the news and the barbaric acts of the state of Israel, and the experience of people living in Palestine, and I was in Jerusalem for some time, so I was able to, and I lived in East Jerusalem, so I was able to see the occupation right in front of me. So I can only begin to imagine the suffering and the harsh realities of Palestinians. Every time I traveled, I saw the checkpoints, and the buses, and how people from Jerusalem had to, without any dignity, the Israeli forces would treat the Palestinians, and so to bring about these kind of stories, that's our main goal here, so I thank you again. You mentioned 1948, the Nakba. So I wanted to ask you, if there were any stories passed down from, your parents or grandparents, before, how life was before the Nakba, what happened in 1948, and how life changed for all the Palestinians after 1948. Can you please, shed your light and elaborate on that?
Yeah, for sure. Because of all of what's happening now, and since 7th of October until now, we have this war which is continuous. Not since 7th of October, for sure, it's before that. People started to know what's happening in the Nakba, what happens to us since years and years of oppression, since years of dehumanization about us, years and years of people are under pressure, under too much things happening on us. In what happens in Nakba happens it's like continued to happen until now. But people as my grandma and my grandma, she's just was telling me she went dead 6 years ago, something like this. She still talks about Nakba until the last day she got dead. Sometimes she talks about people got birth at that day, at this very sad days. Some of them forced to leave their places, as my family, to go to Jericho. It's a far away city from Jerusalem. Fortunately for us, they didn't left the country or go to the West Bank, so that I could be in a camp, or I could be raised in Jordan, in Syria, and all of these countries which Palestinians forced to go out since Al-Nakba, when Al-Nakba happened. Because when it happens, people wasn't have this social media, they didn't know what's happening around. They have this pressure on them. They were very frightened. What happens, which is since years and years, we talk about some theory was there to kick all of the people, all of the Palestinians out from the country, which was not understandable for us. All of the people since then talks about, and I interviewed so many people around, not only my family talks about it. They said that we took several things from our home. We said that it's something temporarily. We have our things from home, and then we will come back in days. So all of the keys of the homes, which is now they took it as settlers and as the Israeli authority, and all of these people, which is in Haifa, Yafa, all of these cities, people have the keys of their houses until they now they are not alive, some of them, but people took their keys and their necessary things. Until now, we have people talks about some details on the houses. No one knows about it because they own the houses, they own the narrative, they own the land, they own everything. But since then and until now, so much things happens. It's Al-Nakba, then Al-Naksa, which is in 1967. So many things, so many traumas we've been through. I call it traumas because it's honestly, it's a trauma because we are suffer since Al-Nakba, yes, but every day we have some incidents, which is very big. Every day we have some thoughts, we have fear, which is continuous with us. We afraid on everyone, we afraid on ourselves, we afraid on members of our family, we afraid that we can go from home and we can't get work, or we can't get the other home that we are going. We could be checked on the checkpoint, and then we could arrested for any reason, not a reasonable reason. Also, even nothing is reasonable here in our state. But since Al-Nakba, people suffers a lot. People knows that now we face something which is not considering us as humans, not considering us as the right protectors. We are the right people with which is since years and years. We think that we lost something. We have lack of power. We have lack of power to surround us, to be with us, and also the narrative wasn't people got used on what's happening in Palestine. Now some people do not know what's happening in Palestine until what happened 7th of October. People didn't knew that there's some people are under oppression, under occupation. We are occupied. We are not living in peace together, as the mainstream media said and talks several times that me in Jerusalem, and for sure I can tell that my life is better than too many people around. And this is not a matter of me, it's a matter of this ideas that Israeli give us, and cut our united, we are united. They cut our unity as people from the West Bank have this idea, people from Jerusalem, East Jerusalem have this idea. Arabs lives now as Israeli citizenship. They has it. They live under another laws and another ideas. So since back then until now, we suffered a lot. We have this too much things happening. we have too much things to talk about and to tell, but there's too much events happening. There's too much people suffer, and it's like several sufferness. It's not like the same sufferness. Us as from Jerusalem, we have our sufferness, which is different than the West Bank people, and different than Gazan people, different than people that lives now as Arabs in Israel, or Arabs hold the Israeli ID. So since then, people talks about, and since the 1948 until now, people tells what happens back then. People have some pictures, Palestinians, to their houses which is now houses for settlers. They knew the trees there, they knew the land, they knew what's inside the house. There's some certain rooms which is not rooms considered as something we put like food in it, we put certain things which is not obvious for people. Some settlers do not know their homes because it's not their homes, because they steal it from Palestinians. Our Palestinians people who live now in the camps, they live now in all of the territories around us, or they live in Jordan, in Syria, and Lebanon, all of these countries. They knew the land, they knew the houses more than people lives in it, because it's not a matter of living in a place, it's a matter of being that right people, that people that build this place, lives all of your childhood in it, and knew the region, all of the region. We have some friend who's archiving all of the Palestinian, what happens in Al-Nakba and then in Al-Naqsa. So he knew people. Now the region in Haifa, in Jaffa, and all of these villages, small villages, which is now demolished or lost. We lost most of the villages, Arabic village that we have since the 48. Now they can get you to this region or to this place, which is different than ever, but they knew it from the trees there. They knew it from the mosque, which is demolished there. Yes, there's a mosque there. You can arrive now to these houses, this family. So this is like, we knew that they were there. They knew the region very well because they spent all of their childhood, all of their family roots are from there. Even though no one can get to that places, except people have the ID, and most of them do not have this Israeli ID. So that led us to some tragedies we have. No one else as us knew it. No one feels it, because people, when they talk since 7th of October and what's happening there, no, you do not know what happens before 7th of October. You do not know these people in tens and tens of years suffering from certain things. No one in the world have it. No one in the world has this kind of treatment, this kind of oppression, this kind of dehumanization since years and years. So this is continuous traumas we have, and we are forced to continue living under these circumstances. We have to continue living under this fear for years and years. We are frightened from going out from homes sometimes. We are frightened from being in certain places because it includes too much settlers, as they have guns and they have all of the power, and they have the Israeli soldiers with them, and we do not have anything. We even we are the people has the right to be there, but we are afraid to be there, because when you lose all of these things, when you lose your right to freedom, the freedom of movement, and the freedom of speech, when you lose the freedom of telling your story, telling your narrative, they are afraid from us to tell our narrative. if you are right, you shouldn't like keep shutting up all of the people. You have the right to tell, and we have the right to tell, and just listen and know what's happening around. So we don't have the right to tell. Now when I'm talking to you and everyone tells me, do not talk, do not be on the media, do not be active around, because they're afraid on me, because here people can't have this luxurious thing to tell. We do not have the luxury to tell our sufferness. This is like a accusation. We could be accused in telling some wrong things, even it's right things for us at least. But you have they could accuse you in telling things which is against the country, the Israeli country. I mean, they can accuse you in being like a friend, or going along with not appropriate fractions, or not appropriate kind of Palestinian parties. This is too much to tell, and too much things we are going through since years and years. Me, as someone from Jerusalem, and sure, I do not like tell that my experience is that like long, or is that has the experience to tell about Palestinians, because all of the Palestinians have their own stories. All of the Palestinians has something to tell, has they suffered a lot since years and years, and this is continued with them. So I'm not that that kind of person that could tell about all of what's happening, because it's too much to tell. But I can tell from my side, and I live in Jerusalem since ever, يعني. But being someone from Jerusalem, this is on a Palestinian level, this is very good. This is like having the very good opportunity to have the at least the right of movement. I have this ID, which is the blue one, and holding the Jordanian passport. We will talk about it maybe further. But this Israeli like permanent ID could be better for me, for sure. In order I can have like check these checkpoints around. I could be in Haifa, in Jaffa, in any place I want. This I have the right to move. But this is not and for sure this is like a basic right. But here it's a luxurious thing. People in the West Bank couldn't see any place around Jerusalem, or they never maybe go to the sea. They do not have the chance to be in the sea since years, since ever maybe. Some of them couldn't get to Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is like very holy place, holy thing to do. Even if you are not religious, you should go to Al-Aqsa to see your holy place and holy land and the old city. Some people do not have this chance. I have it. That's why I'm very thankful for sure to have it, and I'm fortunate because it's just a matter of being in some place, being my family being in that place. They could have this ID. Some others were at the same place and left this like Jerusalem to be around. They have the West Bank ID, which is green, which is considered as they do not have the right to move except in the West Bank, which means in the very narrow area, which is closed and no sea, nothing around. At least we can tell about people sufferness around in Jerusalem, in the West Bank, in Gaza for sure, because they are suffering as we are talking now. They have like raid all over again, and they started to raid some of the places, which is very sad to tell that in 2 hours since 7 a.m. they started the raid. We have like 40 marches, 40 people, Palestinian people killed there in 2 hours, just 2 hours, the first 2 hours on the day. And then I started to work. Then I couldn't like have the numbers, but I'm sure that it raised like tremendously. And the sufferness continued. This sufferness affected us also. This raid affected us as people from Jerusalem, affected Palestinians from the West Bank, affected everyone around the world, not only us. Because these humans, this child, these women are killed now with nothing to do with anything. And they are killed only to have the chance to tell that there's some enemy around the world, they do not like it, and they want to attack. And our story begins and starts from this point, as we are considered a threat. All of the Palestinians are a threat for the Israeli authority, for Israelis, for settlers around the world. Even if you're seeking peace, all of us seeking peace, as everyone in the world, not only us, everyone in the world need peace, need some like relief, need some rest, to be in a good circumstances with his family. But here we do not have it. All of us, not only people from Gaza, people from the West Bank, people from Jerusalem, they talk that they are attacking Hamas. Okay, you're attacking Hamas in Gaza, but why we are arrested in Jerusalem? We do not have Hamas in Jerusalem. Why you're attacking people in the West Bank and arresting people around the world, around all of the territory in the West Bank, especially in West Bank? Since the 7th of October, more than thousands of people got arrested, thousands in like 2 months. So this is not a matter of telling the truth. All the world should see that people are suffering constantly. Every day and every month, we have people, no one in our families, no one that we know doesn't like lose some member of the family from Israeli attack. No one couldn't be like afraid from what's happening, afraid of himself or afraid of a member of the family. So yes, you should like made me stop in order to continue this like conversation, or I'll continue talking until ever.
No, thank you. I mean, we're here to listen to your story. So just feel free to, share whatever is in your heart. You mentioned about, the Palestinians being abducted from West Bank and Jerusalem, every day, right? And they are kept under administrative detention. That's what Israel calls it. And they are kept and imprisoned without any charge or any judiciary process, right? And many of them are children. It happens in night raids. So can you please describe how everything unfolds, and how the prisoners are treated, and how long are they imprisoned, and what happens to them, what happens to their family, can you please tell us about that?
Yes, for sure. We have prisoners around all of the prisons. We have too much prisons here in mainly around the territories that Israeli occupied. We are all under occupation, but in some regions which is far away from the West Bank, people detained there. People are arrested and kept in too many prisons around the region. Some of them, or most of them, are children. In Jerusalem especially, we have like thousands of children under 16 years old. They are kept in prison, some of them 14 or 13 years old. I have like some certain story about Ahmad Banasra. He's well known, and he was arrested since he was 13 years old, and now he's 21 years old. He was kept in like detention, which is isolated. They was isolating him inside like prisons or some cells, which is with no one around. That's why he has now a very bad circumstances. I mean, the mental health of him, it's not as anyone, because he was a child when they arrest him, they beat him, and also he got shot there. They didn't treat him like give him the treatment he needs in the hospital or at anywhere. And then they didn't treat him well inside jail. They detained him as a prisoner inside like cells alone with no one since years. This is as years and years. So he got like he's now a man. He's 21 years old, but his circumstances is very bad, and there's too many like campaigns around the world. He talks about Ahmed talks about he should has the good treatment. He should have been outside the prisons in order to have the treatment, in order to have the exact treatment that he gets. So too many people, child around the West Bank and Jerusalem, mainly in Jerusalem, because in Jerusalem we has this very bad conditions. We hold this ID, this Israeli permanent ID, which is not as a full citizenship, and we're holding the Jordanian passport. So we are in the middle, not Palestinians, not Israelis as their consideration, but for sure we are Palestinians, not on paper, but we have our all of the Palestinians has all our point of views. So we have this ID, which tells that you are permanently living in Israel as Palestinians, as Arabs there. But also Palestinians there have this very bad treatment as we are living in Jerusalem, in a place which is all of the Israelis lives in. Also, they want us to be in peace with people do not believe in peace, and this is the problem. So people around, young children and boys, beaten, have the worst treatment. They got into their house in the middle of the night. They attacked their families, their father, mother, all of the family. So that raised everyone, even children, are raised and going on as people who's under pressure all the time, under this fear, continuous fear all the time. So in Jerusalem, we are afraid from having this Israeli soldiers going inside our homes all the time. We will know that something happens, not from the news, from the neighborhood, from having this Israeli soldiers around us, arresting people or doing something for them. So many prisoners, they are children, and on this prisoners trade that we have since a week until now, we have these children go out in the trade, forced to go out from prison, or they will stay there if we don't have this trade between our prisoners as Palestinians and the prisoners that Hamas took inside Gaza. So when they go out from prisons, you should and you need to have these videos. All of you, we should like raise their voice, see what's happening inside prisons. This is a very bad and very difficult to bear living there. People got out prison. Some of them who's like 16 years old, he was going out in these like fractions in all of his hands and his legs. The presenter, she was from Al Jazeera Arabic. She said, "What's happening to you? Why you are like this?" He said, "They were beating us night and day. It's continuous. We didn't have some rest time. We need some time, 1 hour to rest from beating us." That's what he tell exactly. And he looks like very devastating. He looks like very tired. A child. He's very young, and he said before we didn't know about this trade. We didn't know about the prisoners trade inside jail because they took all of things we have. They took all of the radios, all of the TVs. They took everything, even the blankets that we have. It was very cold there. We were like holding each other in order to have some of like heat, because they open the windows also, and the places are very they choose prisons in places which is very far away from cities, and it could be like deserts or places which is very cold at night. So they take all of their rights. They took everything from the cells, even the blankets and anything to sleep on. So they would be together, and after that they would beat them hours and hours. Some of them said, please tell everyone to get them out. People inside the jail, inside prisons, they tell us, please get us out before we die. We couldn't bear to live to live under this continuous beating and harassment. Some of them sexually harassment. There's some prisoner, he's from Jerusalem. He said, and I quote from his words. He said, please, I am having a message from people I was arrested from. He was released yesterday or 2 days before. He said they are sexually harassment men inside prison, not only women, men. So this is very shocking to hear it from a prisoner. He's out since 2 days. He said people there are suffering until death. They want to be dead in order to have this relief from continually beating, cursing, and having this pepper spread over the prisons. No water to have baths. No good food. They would give them like one meal, which is very small for 18 or 16 people, something like this. The numbers would be very large people inside one cell or one place, and they would be a meal for, it's not for 2 or for 3. So would give them a very less meal. Some of them said, we are feasting, we are not eating in order to have the food for the rest of us. Some of them eat, some of them do not eat, in order to have the food, the less food they have, to treat other like kids in order to eat, because they can bear not eating. So the circumstances in prisons right now, this is very dangerous to have it. We since ever have this bad circumstances, but not like this, for sure not like this. We have the Red Crescent got entered, they can enter their prisons to visit these prisoners. Now no lawyers can enter prisons to visit these prisoners. No, not any like international community. No one can enter these prisons. So Israeli authority, and also Ben Gvir, this name which is very well known in hating Arabs, hating Palestinians, want to kill them all, as he said. He's a member of the Israeli authority. He's the one who's responsible about these prisons. So a friend of me, she's a journalist. They arrested her since 4 weeks. She's a journalist. She works with as a freelancer with some American like TV, and the TV, after 1 day they arrest her. They said, we are not having any relationship with her, even she was a correspondent for them or a producer, I think. And they said, we are not knowing that she's convicted, and she's having this hate speech or something. So even the agency that we work with, the mass media that we are providing them work from the field, they would not have any clue about us when the Israelis arrest us. So I talked with her. She's a friend of me. She said, I couldn't bear living there. I thought I'm dying at any time. You can't sleep, not because anything, even everything is horrible there. You can't sleep because of the shouting of the girls. They are beating the girls all the time in prison. They would take 2 or 3 of them from prison, from the cell that they live like 10 together. They would beat them until they fans, until they are not having they are not conscious, and then they will get them into the cell without any treatment. And this is the problem. They have some blood on them. They have all of this bruises. They have fractions all over their bodies. No one knows about them anything. Even their lawyers, they couldn't. Our lawyers, which is some of them Palestinians and some of them are lefties from Israelis, and no one can enter the prisons to see the situation of them. But eyewitnesses from inside the jails, from inside prisons that they got out, they said that prisons are now like sea of blood. There's too much blood around you, too much people with sufferness inside prisons, and no one took care of them. No one sees what's happening there. For sure, I don't know if you are aware, we lost since 7th of October inside jails, 6 Palestinians were dead from beating them, were dead from this very bad treatment without any medicine they took. Some of them were ill and need some medicine. Some of them needs certain treatment, and some of them was dead from beating, from being very bad treated until they dead. We lost them, and the Israeli administrative didn't tell about the situation of them. They said that some Palestinian from the West Bank, his age is like this, he was dead, and we are searching about, as every incident happens in prisons, we are searching about, we will continue studying or having the circumstances of their death, and nothing would continue. No one would tell what happens to him. No one could have their bodies. We have too many thousands of people. The Israeli has their bodies, even they are dead. Some of them has incidents of has guns and go to attack Israelis or settlers. Some of them got shot in a checkpoint around the region, and they took their bodies. Israelis authority take some of their bodies, and the bodies still there. Families raise their voice, do all of this demonstrations around the region here in order to take their bodies. They want the bodies of their families, the bodies of their sons, and no one knows about anything. No one can tell Israel or this authority to bring back our sons, only to bury them. This is the only thing people they want. So the situation in the prisons now is very bad. People who got out from prison tells shocking, very sad, very bad treatment inside prisons. Even women, we have too many women now got outside prisons. Their mental health is very bad. They are having shocks. Most of them in traumas. Most of them afraid from being outside their homes because of the sufferness. Since years, we have prisoners, women's prisoners inside prisons since years and years. And we have children's also, which women, girls inside prison, whenever they go out, they said, we are now alive. We feel that we was in a very bad cell, in a very bad circumstances, which is they consider us as animals, especially exactly as animals. No good treatment, no rights to have the at least the right to move, the right to see the sun, the right to have a good bath. It's like basics. This is basics on human rights. So no one take any care, not a good care, any care of them. Everyone should tell about their sufferness inside prisons because it's very bad. And now we have these voices because now they release them. They are since years and years under this. So you can imagine what sufferness they've been through, the continuous traumas that they've been. the continuous stress and fear and beaten for years and years and months. So yes, this is very bad, and we need to talk about it a lot, because people are suffering inside prisons, and I hope I'll not be one of them to tell, but this is every one of us could be in their spot at one day with nothing to do, for sure.
I'm kind of lost for words, it just
Yeah.
just too much. And I just wanted to ask you if you have been to one of the prisoner swap that happened recently, and what did you see there? And also, I've been actively following everything that's happening in Gaza and Palestine, and I see that the Israeli authorities have kind of prohibited any celebrations and interviews of the released. Can you tell us a bit more about this?
Yes, for sure. Um, uh, I've been following all of these stories about prisoners, not because I'm a producer and I should follow it and work among them, but also because I was very worried about some of friends, some of people around me. Most of them are arrested, because now you do not have since 7th of October until now, you do not need to be accused on a certain certain title in order to go in prison. Most of the people in prison do not do anything. They pass by a checkpoint, pass by something, and they would have their ID checked and then get in prison with no title. That's what we call administrative detention. It's without a title, without a certain eviction, and it's without having a right to be outside jail, and it's with no title, with no certain title. So most of the people went out from prison, women mainly, and kids, because this prisoner trade was about women and kids until now. So most of them tells very shocking stories, tells very bad circumstances they've been through, tells that we are happy. Yes, we are happy to go outside prison, but we are very sad, mostly because we left in prison people we love, people we admire, people we know that they are suffering now as we are talking, as we are going outside prisons. People, girls, women, kids are suffering deeply, suffering from a very bad circumstances, suffering, couldn't manage to live day by day because of what's happening. So most of the prisoners that I do interviews with them or talk to them, they tell that we are suffering too much now. Some of them wearing the veil, which is like Islamic tradition. Most of them are beaten until they have their veil out. They this is very bad, and not, it's forbidden on our religion as Muslims. So they took the veil on them. They were without a veil in front of Israeli soldiers and Israeli men and women inside prison. They would detain them too long in a very bad conditions, which is sufferness, as they are, most of them are ill, having problems with their backs and their necks. All of them have this problem because of being in very bad circumstances, and beating them, putting them on chairs in hours and hours, and having a very bad treatment, no medical treatment. Even people are fainted. There's some women are pregnant inside prison. Too many things that, too many details. If you talked with them, you would be very shocked to have these circumstances in all over the world. No one could like have a little bit of humanity, could imagine that people are suffering as this level. This is not a human level. This is a very bad level, which is people shouldn't be at this point, shouldn't be like treated as this, even if they were very bad. Most of them do not have accusations, by the way. Most of them, some of them have took them in prison without any accusation, for sure. Some of them do not have a good relation with someone, that's why took them in prison. Some of them have problems, mentally problems, illness, and they got in prison, and no one treated them as they have a problem, a issue, a mental issue. They couldn't like convicted as criminals, but they are treating people inside prison as criminals. All of Palestinian women and children. Some of the children got out. Some of them has a bullet. Israeli soldiers has a bullet like shot him in the head, and he was in like house custody, in house prison. It's like some penalty inside house, being arrested inside your house with your family. You couldn't be outside the door of your house. They would put a bracelet, something on your leg or in your hand in order to check you 24 hours. He was in home after the prisoners like trade. He was treated in a hospital since 2 days, and he's until now in hospitals because the bullet went in a very bad place. When they got it out, there was a very bad problem in his skull and in his head. So until now, he's in a coma. They do not know his circumstances, and he's like 16 years old or 15 years old. He's a child also. And if I show you his picture, you would see that his head went like in a half. There's no side like this. It's a half head. So people, children, women have bad circumstances, even they are like living through a lot since years and years of oppression in the streets. When you are going, me as someone from Jerusalem, I need to go to my work if it's in the West Bank, in Ramallah, in Jenin, in Nablus. So I need 2 to 3 hours in order to got out the checkpoint. And sometimes I couldn't got out the checkpoint because Israeli authority would, soldiers mainly, they will close the main checkpoint. They will close all of the checkpoints around Jerusalem, which is cutting the land apart between the West Bank and Jerusalem. So I could lose my work because of Israeli authority, because of the Israeli occupation. People do not understand that we are living under continuous oppression. It's not only the war in Gaza, even it's a tragedy, and now we are suffering a lot, and we will continue. Now it's continued. No one knows what will happen to people there. People are afraid from going into the places which is the Israeli authority said it's safe in Gaza. But in Jerusalem and in the West Bank, people suffers from going out from their houses. Some of us want to be in houses, to stay at your house, because it's the only place that you will feel less safe. It's not like full safe, but you will feel a little bit safe. But sometimes, even in your house, they would go into your house by mistaken. They will want someone, and they will enter your house, demolish most of the house, demolish or cut your windows or your doors, and then they would be by mistake. They would enter to fear your children. They will enter to feel very traumatized. Then they will go out without being sorry about what happened. Even they are do not want anyone from the house. Me as a journalist, and I'm a mother also, I have my child with me all the time because I moved a lot between Jerusalem, main country, my main city, and in the West Bank. So sometimes I go out from the checkpoint. I check from there with my son. You do not imagine how the fear and the very bad feelings I have every time I go out from the checkpoint, because I have a child. He's 3.5 years old, and he's a very happy child. I raised him on being free to talk, free to tell. We want to be free, so we raised our children to be free in everything, free in telling his ideas, free to go whatever he wants. So whenever I'm at the checkpoint, this freedom thing that I treated him years on this, it would be like nothing now. You shouldn't tell, you shouldn't talk, you shouldn't raise your voice, mama. You shouldn't tell our songs, because some of the songs, if my son had these Arabic songs, they would treated me bad. Some incidents happens with my child. They got us outside the car. They said they move us away from the car, and they beated my son. Not beated him. They threw him out, and he went on the ground. So my child want from me to react as I'm reacting, as I'm protecting him all the time. I'm protecting Julan, my son, all the time from everything. So he talked to me as, mama, you are not protecting me as you are doing every time. So when every time I think about it, I said, we do not have the right to protect our children against them. Even he's my child, and he didn't do anything wrong for you as a soldier, having the gun, having all of these metal things. But I do not have the right to beat him as he beat my child. Even he's not doing anything. He's a child. He's 3 years old. So this is a very bad feeling you have. You have no justice in this land, no justice to protect, no right to protect your child. Even he's a child, and they hate a child, they beat a child, they arrest a child, they harassment a child. So whenever you are being a hero for your child, now here at checkpoints, at any at some stage, you will not be free, as you are telling your child you should be free. So this is, in a human level, this is very bad. This is put us in a very bad situation in front of our children, and also in our humanity. Are we telling them things that we can't live in it? Are we raising them on freedom of speech, freedom of living, freedom to do anything they want? But we do not have it. We can't do it in front of soldiers. So that's why I should tell this point. That's why what happened in 7th of October happened back then, because people do not have any freedom. People in Gaza went since years and years, tens of years, I'm not sure it's 17 years or 20 years, under this siege. They are in prison, mainly in prison, under the Israeli circumstances all the time. If they want you to be treated, they to get the treatment, they will enter the treatment. If they not, you will be cut. No treatment in Gaza. If they want you, you will be died. You will be dead in Gaza because you are having cancer, having this diseases and illness, and no one could let you out from Gaza. So some relatives got dead there. If they want, they would give you electricity, they would give you water. If they do not want, Israel's authority, they would cut it, and you will not have water. So imagine putting yourself in their spot, putting yourself in their shoes, and then tell they couldn't do it. They do not have the right to defend themselves. No, Palestinians have the right to defend themselves as Israelis, as they want to defend themselves. These Palestinians, these people under oppression since years, for sure you are treating them as animals. Now everyone tells that they are animals. Yes, you are treating them as animals. You raised these people, you raised their hate, their feeling that there's no other alternative thing to do except waiting your mercy to give them water and to give them electricity, to not have raid in front of them, do not have these bullets or rockets on them.
Thank you, Rama. As a father myself, I can, imagine what you have to go through.
Yeah.
And seeing all, babies being murdered, and the silence around it, and how Israel and the US media has used, dehumanizing language to justify their atrocities is just, just astounding. Before we spoke, on this live stream, you suggested that I make a few corrections to the language of the questions, right? And I know it is very important that we use the correct words, the correct language, to when we talk about the occupation and the lives of the Palestinians. So can you elaborate a bit on the importance of language and what the Western media has done to discount the reality and to to spread about falsehood about the whole situation? Can you tell me like what kind of languages
yes,
that
of
they
course.
have resorted?
Yes, talking about the mainstream media, as I'm working on it, as I'm one that works on the mainstream media, works with all of foreign media around the world. I work with several TVs. I know the narrative they are talking about. I know from where they took their information. No one take their information or their narrative from Palestinian side. No one in the world, not only mainstream media, because the mainstream media now they having this collaboration around. They have all of this money, power to tell whatever they want on from their side, and also all of these cable channels, which is very big agencies, and they have the variety, they have the money and the power to tell whatever they want. They are with the Israeli side, with the Israeli narrative, because the media that's what the media tells. It tells their point of view, not tells all of the kind of views. So when I work with several media channels, as French channels, Germans, also Americans, from Irish, so many media which is from outside, they do not have the exact the exact agency to tell. They do not have the exact point of views. That's why we tell always that we want to raise our voice. We want to tell the exact things what's happening. The power to tell. Now social media domains everything. When we have the Nakba back then, we do not have social media. No one knows what happens. No one archive or has what happens on the ground. Now in Gaza, what's happening in Gaza, they have all of these social media platforms to tell. People got the chance or has the chance to know better, not only from these mainstream media that has their agendas for sure. They have the social media also. They have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of these mainstream medias, which is also under, for sure, under this civilians and under this narrative, which is against Palestinian narrative for sure. We have this problems with Facebook. They closed most of the Facebook active on the Palestinian cause because they are telling that they are mentioning or they are telling spread fake news. No one knows which kind of fake news the Palestinians spread, but no one are checking the news that any other side spread. So the media works as we know, as mainstream media. We talk about cable channels and very big agencies. They do not have our narrative. They do not have. We do not have the right to tell through their channels or agencies. That's why we tell the people now who comes to Jerusalem, as anyone from outside, they know what's happening on the ground. They feel and see the oppression. They see the suffering on the ground. And now from the social media, people can know me as someone from Jerusalem, not only a journalist, anyone from the ground. They could tell what's happening. That's why we said spread the word, spread the videos. Do not stop mentioning and sharing, even if this is dangerous on us. Even if I shared as Rama, maybe I could be arrested for sharing these videos. For sure, people now having all of this accusations about sharing and spreading videos against Israel and against the Israeli narrative. But we have the social media now. We have this tool to tell what's happening around us. We have this tool to be on the ground, to raise the voice of the people who do not have the voice, as we tell, and we have the opportunity to tell what's happening on the ground through videos, through all of the platforms that we are spread. That's why we talk about the social media, which is very important to have it and to tell about it. That's why we are here to tell that you should see the news, follow the pages, and continue spreading the news from the ground in order to have the voice for the people, all of the people, not only the people has the power and the money to tell it through agencies and the mainstream media.
Thank you for that, Rama. Today the ceasefire ended and Israel has started bombing Gaza again. And I mean, this is not the first time, these ceasefires, Israel continues to bomb Gaza, it's like a, refuel and reload kind of thing, gather ammunitions and start bombing again. So what does these pauses, these ceasefire really mean when you look at a broader picture? Can you shed some light on that?
Yes, we can talk about ceasefire and what happens in ceasefire. People on the social media, for sure, if you followed or know someone from Gaza, you will see that people has the right to sleep, only the right to sleep, because they couldn't sleep night and day because of the raid, because of the bombs around them. People has the right to drink water, like water you can use it because they couldn't have any water sources there in Gaza. So the ceasefire for these very short term and very short days was very helpful, very curing. Some of them has very bad injuries, and some of them were dead. Some child and kids in the incubator were dead because they do not have treatment. Now the ceasefire stopped and finished. They do not want to. There's so many issues around continuing this ceasefire, and the bombs continued there. I could tell you about friends and people I know from Gaza through social media, journalists and people around there. They feel that they are not humans. They are not humans no more. They feel that they are under huge pressure. They can't continue living under these continuous bombing all the time. And it's not the first war. They managed to be alive after it. There's too many wars happens there in Gaza. Too many people they lost. Some families do not exist now. Families, lot of the families, all of the family. The ceasefire was continued. They first accepted to do it as 4 days. After that, they continued as 2 days. Then what happens after that? And the releasing of the Israeli prisoners from inside Gaza, and then releasing prisoners from the Palestinians from Israeli prisons. This was under very hard circumstances. These prisoners that went out couldn't have the right of happiness, couldn't have the right to be to having any treatment, like good treatment, because it was a trade. And now after everything, people now in Gaza continued to leave their homes, continued to go to some shelters, which is bombed also. So there's no place to tell that it's safe there. And the circumstances now are very bad, will continue to be bad after a day or two, because the electricity would be cut, and there's no water sources, and we will start again from this sufferness. People there going through sufferness day by day, managed to live this day, maybe the day after they wouldn't be alive. So we hope to have a stop of this bombing, a continuous ceasefire, or ending on this war. But people around and people knows the circumstances do not have and also analysts do not have the right vision to know if something would be near a ceasefire or what will happen. So we'll continue spreading the news, knows what's happening, but circumstances would be worse and worse day by day, and we hopefully something would raised, and some any good treatment would be held for them. I hope so.
Thank you, Rama. I think I have a few more, two more questions. So, there's so many solidarity movements across the globe, telling Palestinian stories and sharing stories directly from what's happening, right? But I think, a lot of it, many of the things that needs to be told and shared are kind of lost in translation, So for, solidarity movements like us, is there anything that, that we need to know, or that you would like us to ask or, share that we tend to miss? Is there anything that you feel?
Honestly, there's nothing to do all over the world. That's what we feel. But for solidarity, and also for continuing spreading what's happening. So the only demand all of the Palestinians want, even if anyone got arrested, even if anyone as me got arrested or killed. We want to spread the news. We want to spread we only want to spread the right things, what's happening on the ground. We need from all of you to tell the story, to have the stories from the people on the ground. Do not have it from cable channels or all of these big and mainstream media, because they have their agendas. This is well known now. Everyone knows it. Not only us as Palestinians tell it, but everyone in the world now, even in UK, in America, in all of these authorities that going with what's happening in Gaza, but their people, their population knows that the mainstream media now do not tell the truth. Have the news from all of the social media platforms, all of these active people on the grounds, all of these people from the same region or country, spread the news, spread the videos about people who's killed, who's detained, who is arrested, and help this cause, because it's a cause of everyone. It's not a cause of some Arabic or Palestinian or Muslim or anything. It's a cause of humanity. That's all of the thing that we should do. And if something happens in the far African or Asian or any place, we should spread the news. We should be with the right side. We should going with it, because this is human. This is humans that we are losing. This is human stories that we should share and tell. These who would be killed and arrested and not anymore around. We should tell their stories. We should talk about them all the time, even if this is dangerous on us, on everyone, because this is the matter of humanity. This is the thing that we are humans. We should go against anything, dehumanize anyone of us, which is against laws and against every right in the world. And now we should spread it. We should talk about it and mention it, even if in front of one. We should be this one that tells this story from the land, and to spread it in order not to lose it, in order to stay in touch with everyone and tell their stories, even we lost them or we couldn't raise our voice. People around the world could do it. So this is the only thing I can talk. And I want to tell some point before we end, because of the time, and also the power will be my phone will be dead in minutes. So I want to tell about what's happening now in the West Bank, especially because I'm covering the West Bank and Jerusalem since 2 months until now. What's happening in the West Bank now is raids, continued raids on Jenin, on Nablus, on Ramallah, on Jerusalem, everywhere, but especially on people on the West Bank, killing too many young people. At some day, people, maybe it was 10 people from Jenin at one day. So we're talking about hundreds and maybe thousands. I'm not sure from the number, but it's for sure hundreds of people got killed through raids around the West Bank in the last 2 months. So raids continued until now, until we are until now. Maybe we are speaking, and there's some raid on some place on the West Bank, and the West Bank is not like a very far away region from Jerusalem or from another place. So people in the West Bank having trouble to live, having trouble to be safe. They want to be safe in homes. Raids around the West Bank got inside homes, kill people, arrest people around, women, children, men. This is not a matter of anyone. They do not need some people. They want to fear everyone. They want to let the people do not live in safe. So they would be afraid all the time, afraid talking, afraid going out from the cities. People now afraid from going from a city to another in order not to be around any checkpoint, in order not to check their IDs and then arrest them, because there's no need to have to do something or to be like having a title or harm someone in order to be in prison here in the West Bank or in Jerusalem. So anything we could share, anything, and for sure your pages now I'll spread the news all the time from the ground. I will send you pictures, videos, and the news, and you can help us in sending and in spreading this like information and what's happening, and keep posted, keep telling the right story from the people from the ground, because it's a matter of human, and we are all humans. We are against killing any civilians. We are against killing any people without any without any title, without any harm of anyone. And we are with freedom. We are Palestinians in all over the region. We need freedom. We do everything. We like start our day and end our day in thinking about freedom, freedom of our bodies, freedom of our mind, and freedom of living, freedom of movement. So this is the thing that I live through, and I lost several things in order to have the freedom to be like a free woman, a free human on this land and on this universe. So we are against any bad attacks, but we are attacked now, and the Palestinians should live in dignity as they want, and in peace, in peaceful land, in a peaceful way, as we hope to have it one day.
Thank you so much, Rama. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm kind of lost for words. It's just terrible. And I can
It was
empathize with
1 hour and a half. We are talking since
Yeah.
1 hour and a half, and I felt I didn't talk anything. I didn't mention any like very big stories, because there's, as I tell you, so many things to tell, so many stories to talk about. And since 1 hour and a half, I didn't mention like 10% of them. So
Yes.
this is too much to tell, but for sure we are telling some point of it, and we hope the people, and I know the people knows better now about the Palestinian cause and the Palestinian the sufferness of the Palestinians.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that we're listening. We are listening, and we're doing everything that we can, even as a small collective, to raise
Thank
the
you.
Palestinian
Thank you.
voices. And I am really grateful that you shared your story with us. Your heartaches and your expectations and aspirations, and it means a lot. It really means a lot. And
Thanks a lot.
thank you very much. Okay, shall we end okay,
It was a pleasure, and thank you for having me. Thank you for talking about the Palestinian cause and talking about the sufferness of us. And I hope we continue that anytime you want, any news you want, anything, anything from the ground. I'm fully here, and I'm very pleased to have anything you need in order to know the exact story, the exact things that we are having here in the ground.
Yes, absolutely. We'll be reaching out to you in the coming days, because we'd like to, continue our solidarity, of course, so thank you very much for today, and we'll speak to you soon. And free Palestine.
Thank you. You are more than welcome. And free Palestine.